The studio lights were hot, the crowd restless, and the tension so thick it could be sliced with a knife. Jasmine Crockett stood tall behind her podium, her confidence radiating like a fire that refused to die out. Across from her, Dan Bongino sat silently, arms crossed, his eyes fixed on her like a man who'd seen this play out before, arrogance meeting reality. The night would begin as just another heated political debate, but by the time it ended, Jasmine Crockett's entire career would be hanging by a thread, and Dan Bongino would be the one who pulled it. The debate was being broadcast live across multiple networks. Millions of Americans tuned in, eager to watch the fiery exchange between the outspoken Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and former Secret Service agent and conservative commentator, Dan Bongino. The moderators barely had to do anything. Everyone knew this wasn't going to be polite politics. It was going to be a fight. Jasmine started strong, her tone sharp and dripping with confidence. Dan, people like you, she said, waving her hand dismissively, are relics of a bygone era. You think shouting and bluster win arguments. But facts, my friend, are not determined by volume. The crowd gave a polite clap. She smirked, proud of her opener. Bongino didn't flinch. He just leaned forward, a small grin forming. Congresswoman, he said slowly, his voice low and deliberate, I've dealt with terrorists, foreign agents, and crooked politicians. You're not even close to the toughest person I've faced, but you might just be the most arrogant. The audience gasped. Jasmine's smile flickered, but she recovered quickly. Arrogant? No, Dan. I'm just confident in the truth. Something you might want to try sometime. What followed was 30 minutes of verbal sparring, Jasmine attacking with talking points, Dan countering with facts, first-hand experience, and that rare quality politicians rarely encounter, brutal honesty. Then came the moment that changed everything. Dan had been quiet for a while, listening as Jasmine launched into another tirade about integrity and leadership. But as she began lecturing him about the dangers of misinformation, Dan finally raised his hand. Congresswoman, may I? He said calmly. Jasmine rolled her eyes. If you must. Dan pulled out a printed document from a manila folder. This, he said, is your own statement from 2 years ago, where you said the exact opposite of what you're saying tonight. You accused your own party leadership of corruption, of silencing dissent. And now, here you are, defending them. Tell me, Congresswoman, what changed? Your principles or your paycheck? The studio fell silent. Jasmine froze, her face tightening. That's out of context, she tried to argue, her voice suddenly shaky. Dan didn't relent. Out of context? These are your words. Your signature. Your press release. The American people are tired of politicians who say whatever gets them applause. You talk about